Hello and welcome to episode 2 of my Planet Coaster series. Today we are going to be making the station and the train for the passenger, or should I say guest, travel track system. So you get these in most parks. They travel the guests around the park, and I've included one here. Now I wanted to put this in first so I could design the park around it so that stations are in the places where they're near busy centres. And I'm not very good at pre-planning my parks. Well, I don't do anything to pre-plan my park. So what I've done is I've just made a route, whacked some stations down, and then I built on top of the stations for this episode. The track didn't really I didn't have any thought into where I wanted to go. I just did it as I went. As you can see, that sometimes the snow got into the way of adding extra stations, so I had to push down the train and flatten it so it makes a flat station. I went a roundabout way. It just crisscrossed a bit. Hopefully I haven't taken up too much of my park space so that I can't get any rides or other things in, but we'll see how it pans out. I could always change it at a later date. Now as you can see, most of my track is actually in the snow, which I didn't plan, but I actually quite like the effect of the trains being in the snow and the snow banks around it. It gives it just a nice piece of scenery there, as you will find out. So the track is just a design, and what am I making? I tried, apart from the back straight there, I tried not to do too many long straight sections, so that it just seemed a bit more interesting to the customer. Now I like to have angle snap on for different. Oh, made a mistake there. See, it went down. I didn't want to go down. I wanted to go straight there. I didn't want to have too many straight sections. I didn't want to go up and down too much because it's not a ride; it's a transportation. I have angle snap on for some things so that I can get that exact level quickly and easily. Now this was the section that I had the most trouble with, trying to get it over the entrance so it would be quite impressive for when people come through those entrances. They see the train going overhead and into the station. Now, a bit of trouble getting it to go over the archway and then into the station. So I've spent a while fiddling about with this to get the correct angles, and then realised I couldn't get the right angle. So in a minute you'll see me actually move the station, which was the easier thing to do than to get this to actually sync up. Now as you see, it's because you wanted to turn too much. It looked quite nice. I had a bit of trouble actually doing the lengths of the track, changing the lengths. My computer was the game was lagging a bit, and it just wouldn't let me change the length that well. So after a few attempts at trying to get it into the thing, I abandoned the station, as you can see, and just edited the track. I took away that first couple of bends to put in the station here. Again, having to push and flatten the scenery so we can get a nice station on it. And I'll probably change that snow again in another episode so that I can so it doesn't look like I've on purposely done it and got rid of it. So I had a couple of entrances and exits to a couple of the stations before really realising what I was going to do. I thought I'll just straight away into the station. Just as I said before, my theme will be gingerbread houses and gingerbread buildings, and that will be the theme for most of the buildings. I probably won't do all the buildings, but I'll do most of them. So I started off with the hearts. I didn't use the hearts last time, and to make thing again, still trying to figure out all the shapes that we have to play with. This time I didn't mind the station being boxy because, well, like a square, because I was quite happy with the shape for this particular station. Try not to make future stations and things all boxes, but we'll have a go. And then making sure it touched the ground, even with the thing. I put decoration on this side first of all before finishing the building because I just wanted to make it look nice. And I put some windows in. Again, not making sure that everything's completely flat and straight. It's a gingerbread house, so you got. I think I'm using that as my get out clause for this. That gingerbreads aren't always straight because they're gingerbread. Now I've got a bit of a path here and a little reef above the door. I don't finish the path or put anything around it, so in a future episode, or the next episode, sorry, I'll probably go around adding some, fences and bits to the station to make it look like more like a house. I've tried to detail it like that. As you can see, the archways lined up pretty well with my. Oh, not yet. I had to change one of the archways to make it line up with the queue, so which was easier to do than try and figure out. Just make the queue line in the right place. That was the easiest thing to do. So I've on this side I've used mostly solid plain wall pieces, and I've added decorations to them. I tried to add frosting this time more than in the other house to glue, I'll say, all the pieces together. Adding a little door there with using all the extra pieces to make it stand out before adding in the icing. And then making sure again that you can still see some stilts, so I will go around and fill in those gaps as well, because don't want to break the illusion in the park. Again, I know everything's very simple, but I will be changing, adding extra bits at a later date to make it even more. But it's just going through the stations. A little bit of warm grass there, just to sort of give the impression that it's walked on a lot, and then a couple of stepping stones, which I deleted in there. I didn't think they looked quite right. I wanted to have a path there, but no such luck. Anyway, I then went to add on the roof, just adding a simple sloped roof to the building, and then I frosted it all together, which took didn't take a long time. It just took longer than I expected. And then I had some brickwork. I think the brickwork worked better in this particular building because it's longer. It's just got those extra bits that you can do to it. Now this time I had the frosting just to the edges and the tops. I didn't do the ones in between the roof slats. Not because I couldn't be bothered, but I just didn't fancy them being glued together. So again, taking the time to do the corner ones and making sure that are good, and put them in. Yeah, so I'm enjoying this park. It's, again, as you can see, it's my first foray into buildings, so please, if you want to comment with any hints or tips or anything that you think I could do better, or what you want to see in the next episode, then I'll be glad to edit in. Then, as always, I will put in a little chimney. I do like my chimneys, I must say, and it goes great with the snow pieces. I also like to I will add some smoke to the chimneys in the next episode, so that I can it just makes it look a bit nicer. As you can see, I saved it as a blueprint, and I found it quite difficult to actually add these to the other stations. For reasons unknown to myself, I think it was probably to do with the way the scenery interacts with the snow more than anything else. But I just found it really difficult to get this particular station done. It took me a fair few efforts, got it in the end, but it was the last station I did. I went and did all the others first because they worked easy. they worked easy. I tried a couple of methods, see if there's any way else of doing it, but for some reason, if you select the blueprint, you can't build on that particular station. I think that's something that could be improved. That if you want to edit the station, you can select a blueprint building and it sort of goes in the grid. Just might be easy, like when you do when you first build. It just might be easier than having to. So I tried to select it and then duplicate, drag and drop, but that wasn't working. So I gave up for a minute, did the other stations, and actually I think they worked out pretty well. It's just that one that was messing up, and then we came to the last station, and then we've that's it. Thank you very much. Please comment, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.